A game that does have some stakes though. Big Brain are 3-1, Disillusion are 2-2, and given the way that the leaderboard is looking right now, Danog, any team that loses this one is out of the contention to go to Div 1. That's just it. You're done. You're like, you can't really realistically expect to get there unless through some amazing tiebreakers.
Let me have a double check at this. I mean,
Yeah.
Team Zero could lose against the last arc, potentially. I could certainly see, like, maybe even a three-way tiebreaker for second. I'd say Holy Grail have almost secured themselves.
I think Holy Grail secured after today. I think they should be. It would, given that they have to play against they play Disillusion and Big Brain next, and I do think that they've shown that they're better than both of these squads, like both on the floor and the ceiling. I would be amazed if Holy Grail dropped another game after how they handled Team Zero, honestly.
And they can afford to drop one. That's the thing. I think they can afford to drop one. Two, then it just feels a little silly that you leave it up until the end of the tour to potentially have a lot of a rougher time. This is a lane that is not going to go well for Desire. Though, I mean, most of the time you pick this Undying first just to be able to have that amazing laning setup. And, I mean, Wind Ranger going to be able to just plink you from afar. Plenty of stats built up already by Aenid. And then, of course, Eren, he's just going to be able to keep you away as much as possible as well. I really want to see them buy into the magic stick, though neither of them have it at this point.
Yeah, that is actually quite surprising. I mean, they did expend some of the money for blood grenades, but I'm pretty sure Skywrath Mage will tank a couple of decays and be like, oh yeah, I should buy a magic stick, bro. Mid lane, God, mid is so boring right now without supports rotating in, and I don't think this is going to change in this game. Puck Storm Spirit, skill-based matchup, no kill threat prior level 6, so don't expect anything insane or interesting to happen in this mid lane, sadly.
I wonder if Eren could maybe make something happen, like you do want to like continue to try and dominate this lane as much as possible, slow down the Morphling, but I mean a rotation around like the 4-6 minute runes by the Skywrath Mage with like 1 or 2 points in the Ancient Seal might be enough for them to be able to connect a kill onto the puck. It would probably take a smoke though, and I'm not sure if they want to expend it that early.
We'll see how Eren decides to go about things. The other support in this game, the 4 position is going to be this Husk who we see in the top lane, just pulling in for his Mars. I still think Mars is bad, but I've been seeing this hero do a lot better lately. And in this game, we did mention that you have this Tombstone which we see from Desire down bottom. I am a bit concerned though here, Danog. Like, if the Tombstone doesn't come flush at the same time as the arena drops down, where's the damage? Where's the big team fight that you normally expect when you have a Mars in your lineup?
I think it's going to need to come around like a Dream Coil on its own, right? Like Dream Coil into Mars Spear, at least you've got a little bit of that setup. You guarantee the snap of the coil. That forced movement is going to be so key for them to be able to find a pickoff. But that's like single target pickoff, right? I think they are quite lacking in AoE damage at this point. You just think of the Puck, the Mars. They are kind of single target focused, at least for the first little bit. And, most of the time when you pick a Puck, you want to be playing it alongside some sort of hero that's able to dish out some good AoE damage to be able to make the most out of that Dream Coil. So you think of like a Snapfire or a Techies or something like that. And that's something that Big Brain are lacking right now.
We'll see how they decide to fix this issue down the stretch with their draft. Of course, a lot of the activity in this game is going to be dictated by these mid laners. Both highly mobile anti-heroes. So in terms of rotations, you mentioned that Eren could make his way towards the mid lane to assist Small KK. For Small KK, where should he be heading out once he has the level 6? Is Morphling even a viable kill in this game, or should you put all your attention to shutting down the Mars on the other side?
I think the Mars lane is just so much more killable, Like, I think it's important to make sure that he doesn't get off to the greatest start, because I think he does need to go into this, like, more utility-style build. And if you're able to slow that down, then you're not getting the utility early on, which means that you're not getting kills, which means that he doesn't have a farming item. It's just this big, like, snowball effect, right? Where if one thing goes wrong for him, I feel like the whole game is going to go poorly for him.
So far, though, this game is very, very static, fairly slow. We might have our first blood in the top lane, but CSJ is very, very tanky. This is the one thing we always will give Mars. Killing him off early with a Bracer and double gauntlets, super difficult to do. They do not have the heroes to make this happen. And, speaking of heroes, I'm kind of surprised by the CS differentials. Like, I thought Naga would be able to do a lot better in the CS department versus Mars Tusk than Morphling would do against Wind Ranger Skywrath Mage, but that's not how it's turned out so far in this game.
Yeah, maybe just not enough spam coming out from Aaron on the bottom side of the map. Right, I'm still seeing a lack of magic stick. Don't even need the full one, just the stick, because Desire, he's maxing out the decay. Like, he's looking to spam it out as much as possible. Still has a couple of mangoes to be able to make plays with, and I'm a little bit surprised as well. I mean, we saw that game 2 of the previous series was a bit of a snooze fest. Lots of farming going on, and it feels like this one might be going down a similar sort of vein.
Yep. This brings me back, fam. Like, these farm festy games, this is like
China
some 2014 era China. Good times.
Yep. It's like wait for the enemy team to make a mistake. It's basically current Tundra Dota. It's like just wait for the enemy team to make a mistake,
Oh gosh, Tundra. I think outside of TI4, that's probably the worst TI finals we've had, right? Was not very entertaining.
Yeah. I mean, at least Secret made them work for it, Some of the GGs by Vici and TI4 was like, man, this is the final game and you're GGing out before they're even breaching high ground? Come on. Something could go wrong.
Wasn't it game 2 that they GG'd while they still had tier 2 towers, dude?
Something ridiculous like that. And it's like, come on. Bot
top lane. Bot lane. We actually have our first blood finally happening. Ionid and Aaron. We've been wanting them to show the harass potential of these heroes, and they fulfill that promise, killing off Desire. You mentioned earlier we don't expect Desire to have a good game here. Things were going much better than expected, but this had to happen eventually.
Yeah, for sure. I've been calling him Desiree a little bit just because, a little bit of fun. But what do you reckon? It's just to mess with Ares a little bit. Are we going to call him Desire?
Desire, Desiree. It could be one of those guys that has both, right? So no matter what, we know we're referring to him. Sort of like when people have Artesia and the A God. Mid lane.
Oh, mid lane.
They do kill off the Storm Spirit. That's not going to feel good for him. A small KK got himself killed off. They at the very least grab some revenge on the life of this Tusk, but losing small KK, that is not what you want, especially since the kill itself also involved the puck.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, right? Like, the rotation from Aaron was coming at the exact time that I was hoping for it to happen, right? It was just prior to the Storm hitting level 6. He had a very good experience advantage over the puck at that time. But really quick fingers by Sakata to be able to pick up that shield rune, so he might still live off the back of this.
Small KK jumps on top of him. Ranfu does here with the charge as well. What? He's still alive? No way does he actually escape this, but he does. He's alive on the high ground. Small KK jumps him and kills him off though. Here comes the Tusk with the young Snowball. They connect onto Small KK. He certainly doesn't have enough mana to escape this, and he will die to some of these Tombstone zombies. It's a 1-for-1 exchange. Although, who actually benefits here, right? Because Small KK gets immediate revenge first, and then he dies afterwards. Which side would you prefer being on right now after the skirmish?
Absolutely the puck, because, I mean, the thing is, Storm just TP'd back in to be able to make that kill happen. He's still got 30 seconds until his TP's back up, so it's going to be a lot of experience not being obtained underneath this this mid lane. They're actually even going to go for a smoke together as a team just to be able to get him out faster. Like, that's how dire this is.
I mean, right now he's also a little bit ahead in the net worth department over and above this puck, but like you said, all this additional time, it's going to equalize that advantage. So you feel good on the side of Big Brain for the moment, at the very least. Top lane, we're going to be seeing a Wisdom Rune pickup. Nobody is going for it. Who got the bottom one? Ranfudar got it, okay. Teams are getting better around this mid lane. Div 2, they're getting better.
Yeah. I was thinking maybe with like the remnants of that smoke, they might have been able to get a kill onto the puck again around that mid lane, just because you had the Spirit Breaker and Aaron with the 2 points in the Ancient Seal, making a movement towards the puck. But Sakata, wisely enough, until those two guys show on a lane somewhere, he's really just going to go back to the jungle, take a little bit of this slightly slower, but much safer farm.
Right now it's about safety first. Nothing else really matters. I still continue to be surprised at how well this Morphlings game is going, though, for the God King. I mean, yes, Aenid is at the top of the network department on his Wind Ranger, but this tier 1 tower bottom is literally 100 HP, 100% HP. It's kind of crazy. Mid lane, we might have a quick death happening onto our Tusk, but the Dream Coil emerges from Sakata. Now they're going to be targeting Aaron. Can they kill him off before the storm arrives? No, they cannot.
Disillusion.
Small KK is here. They're going to look for immediate revenge, and they do kill off the Tusk. Tombstone dropped down by Desire, but there's more than enough heroes to kill it off. And now suddenly this Undying finds himself in a very awkward position. They kill off his Bassi, they take away an Observer Ward, and now they take away his life as well. A double kill for Small KK, a defense mounted onto their supports, and the game just feeling a lot better for the side of Team Dissolution.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, they give him over the tombstone, they give over an extra kill with getting nothing in return. He gets the courier killed as well. So it's just a lot of AoE gold going in the favor of Team Dissolution right now. And I mean, honestly, I feel like Ayanid's pretty happy with just being able to pick up a lot of this early farm as well, right? Sure, it sucks that you're not going to be able to kill this Morphling, but I mean, Windranger is one of those heroes that really does start to scale quite quickly if you are able to get just that first shackle shot landing. I mean, Spirit Breaker, he's only level 4. I suppose that's the really downside to all of this. If he gets into that level 6 at a pretty decent timing, you know, Focus Fire combined together with just a Javelin absolutely can get a kill.
Yeah, speaking of Focus Fire, they did throw it out onto this Morphling, but Tusk was there with the snowball, granting the Morph salvation, and now he's waveforming forward, hoping to find the kill. Realizing they don't have enough control, they probably have to retreat from the area, but they don't have the burst damage either on Dissolution, so Morphling will end up living. And they're actually going to chase down Aaron. Desire sees him, scouts him out a little bit with these decays. The puck might move over from the mid lane, but they decide against it. Nobody dies.
He was pump faking the tombstone a couple of times, but that would have just been, again, they've got a lineup that can fairly easy escape from the tombstone, right? It's not even just the Naga Siren that we were talking about in the draft. They've got Wind Run, they've got zipping away, you've got charge through just to be able to get the hell away from that tombstone. So it really puts a lot of pressure on Big Brain to be able to get a ton of value out of these Dream Coil and Arena of Bloods to make sure that that doesn't happen.
Speaking of Arena, our Mars in the top lane, CSJ, has been doing shockingly well in this game, leading into getting his Blink Dagger. He's pretty much playing the lane all alone right now. And you mentioned how important this Mars is going to be for them. Are we at the point yet where Storm needs to start coming to the top lane? Aaron is about to crack level 6. Do they maybe wait for Mystic Flare and then you make the big Storm rotation to kill him off at the same time?
I think so. Like, he's a fairly tanky boy on this Mars as well, right? You know, the Soul Ring, couple of braces. So it's going to take a fair amount to be able to take him down. And you can see with this Haste Rune plus the freshly completed Kaya, might be enough to be able to take him down. But again, he's just way too close to the tower, I feel.
I don't think he dies here, actually. They're going to ensnare him. They have a lot of damage out, though, and they should kill him off. Okay, never mind. Never mind. They have enough. Nobody came top lane. At the same time, though, they do manage to finish off the Spirit Breaker. Ranfu dies in the mid lane. And down bottom, we have Focus Fire being thrown onto the God King by Ayanid. Unable to find the kill, however. But you spoke about the impact of this Javelin with Focus Fire. And man, it hurts. That additional pierce damage, not fun to deal with early on.
Even up against some of these, like, you know, early-ish Vanguard builders, not that anyone is doing it this game, but you're always going to have that magical damage to be able to secure the kill, as Tusk should maybe fall down here. Aaron, is he going to die? Nah,
Aaron should be fine. Too many heroes. Small KK gets involved. It's a dominating streak for the Storm. He actually zips across the river, finding Desire here. This Undying should actually contribute to Small KK's coffers. It's a double for the Storm. He's 6-2-1, 12 minutes into the game, Daynog. I know we said it's a free Storm game, but my God, what a start is he having.
Yeah, I mean, it's a free Storm game. It's a pretty decent puck game, but you do have responses to it, right? You've got the setup, you've got plenty of charge, you've got that pickoff, and it's really just going to be around Ranfu Dao. Like, he is still not yet level 6. I kind of want to see him play a tiny bit more selfishly, even if it just means he's the one to be able to build up a lot of these stacks for the Storm Spirit to take, because if that could get him into his level 6, suddenly Puck, Morphling, they can much easily die.
Yeah, that's actually a very good point, right? That there's no level 6 available from the supports on Radiant side that threaten Storm, but the same is not true in the opposite direction. Ranfu Dao is actually going to go to the top lane. Storm Spirit's TPing here as well. CSJ is dead. They're going to zip on top of him. They want this kill to happen, and they're going to make it happen, even though the young Snowball will be there from the Tusk, and a very nice spear back on Ranfu Dao. All of these intricate plays don't amount to anything, as both of these heroes do end up falling. And Team Disillusion starting to really take a hold of this game here, Daynog. They might not have gotten that much real estate on the map, but damn, their heroes feel really strong right now.
They do, and like Windranger laning into the Morphling, you're really not scared about that much down here, right? And you can see here, Ayanid, he's not even maxing out the power shot. He realizes that his kill threat is off the back of the Focus Fire, so much more into the Shackle means that if you do catch out God King with, you know, he's a greedy core. He likes to farm, and he likes to do it frequently. So if you're able to catch him out with those 3 points Shackle, you could probably kill him off the back of a Focus.
We have a smoke right now coming in from Team Dissolution. So they want to make sure that they can keep the pressure out on the map. They don't find God King though. And that's going to give an opportunity for them to smoke back in on Radiant side. Sakata has just completed up having another level. Top lane, we do see Storm Spirit just killing off Desire quite easily, but Ionid's in trouble. He's in danger. Focus Fire does come out onto the Morphling. He's trying to get himself away with the waveform, but they're charging into him. They want the water point. Mystic Flare dropped onto his face. He's still alive though. The Snowball helping out so much, and they turn around and kill off both Ionid and Aaron. The Spirit Breaker's charge took too long. Sakata doesn't have access to the Dream Coil anymore, so I don't think they can kill him off, but they're gonna try for this. Snowball at the ready in 4 seconds. Ranfu Dao, he's silenced up. He can't charge again for another 2 seconds. Will he die just yet? He pops his magic wand. He is still alive, but they eventually do finish him off. Sakata now on a killing spree on this puck. And the move initially seemed good into the Morphling, but the response from Big Brain even better.
I mean, that's one of those movements that it's like, the result of the lane going a little bit too well for you, right? Where you just like, you're like, you know what, I can go for this dive past the tier 1 tower, even though I don't have the greatest amount of vision or heroes with me. You know, I'm strong enough to be able to do it. No, no, no. Like, you are still going up against a lineup that can look to make that turnaround happen. And I mean, the other big plus for Big Brain off the back of all of this is that you have CSJ, who's got that fresh Blink Dagger completed, and they would love to get a quick kill onto the Wind Ranger after she just TP'd back to this lane.
Yep, there we see the blink revealed with the arena going out. Unfortunately for him, Ancient Seal did come even faster. With Mystic Flare, Focus Fire, they kill off the Mars. However, Sakata and Desire, they smoked up into this fray as well. So they find the immediate revenge onto Ionid. Honestly, Dire Side is ecstatic about this. You wasted some ultimate, you wasted a rotation. Top lane was being taken solo by Naga. And all the Radiant heroes are playing around bottom, not really getting efficiency across the map.
That's one of the other things that we haven't mentioned about the Naga, right? We've talked about how, like, you know, she's got great ways to be able to disengage from a lot of these fights. Are they going to be able to kill this Storm?
Nah, not enough damage.
So close.
He's fine.
Occult Bracelet ends up saving him.
Man. Yeah. Occult Bracelet, Kaya Sanj, Power Trades, and a Magic Wand. He's actually very, very tanky right now.
So the thing I was talking about with the Morphling, with the Naga Siren, is that in response to the Morphling, you are one of the better counters to it, just because you really don't get value out of this Aghanim Scepter on the Morphling, right? When you're a Naga Siren, a lot of the damage that you're outputting is off of your illusions, not the main hero itself. So, you know, the illusions are still going to do pretty much the same thing, regardless of whether or not Morphling is morphed into you. Sure, it's nice to be able to have, you know, the ensnare and everything else off the back of that, but it really just feels like one of those position 1 heroes that really doesn't care quite so much about Morphling going for this Ag Scepter build.
Yep. She also builds Orchid, which is a very, very nice into Morphling, even if he has the Manta style. Whenever Orchids are available, he starts to think about maybe Linkens might be required. You see down bottom, several heroes stacked up from Team Disillusion. They want to find some kill, and they have the level 6 now from the Spirit Breaker, so they get the Nether Strike, and Mystic Flare not only killed off Desire, but it brings this Tusk very, very low as well. He might actually end up taking a tumble here. At the same time, they catch the arena out onto this Wind Ranger, and though is still alive for now. Sakata and CSJ really want this kill, but the Shackle Shot on the 2 sets up for the kill onto Mars, and now they definitely have a kill onto Puck as well. It's a triple for the Skywrath Mage, a team fight win for Disillusion, and Ionid. Man, right now is the day to play the lotto, my friend, because you have just been given a second lease on life.
And he just got everything off in that fight. He was able to get off a full Focus Fire. It doesn't matter if it's into the Bulwark. You're still going to get that damage proccing out from the Maelstrom. Perfect Shackle Shot into 2. I was like, are they going to keep stacking up? And they keep doing it. All right, they're still doing it. And he just enables the rest of the team to be able to follow up onto him as well.
What a player. Well, Team Disillusion now 6K
Blink coming out to him now.
Yeah. Dude, he has Blink, Maelstrom, Power Trade 17 minutes in from the off lane. Really, really good times.
From the Specialist's array as well.
Feeling very good for Ionid. Radiant side need to do a lot of recovery. Sadly, these initiations with the Mars haven't been able to work out just yet. And even when they do get kills, they can't translate them into anything more concrete. We do have a charge from Ranfu Dao onto this Undying bottom. Let's see, Wind Ranger's nearby. He does have TP, but it's Spirit Breaker. Yeah, Undying's dead. Sorry, mate. Feels bad.
Tusk's used the Snowball as well onto the Wind Ranger. Looks like she'll be able to get away, though, off the back of the win run, potentially. I mean, Tusk can... Has he already thrown out the Ice Shards, or is it just on cooldown? Looks like it's on cooldown.
Yeah. So, well, now what, Danog? Radiant side is not looking super hot at the moment. They don't have any map control. All the tier 1 towers are still standing. Their Morphling is not the craziest farm in the world. CSJ and Sakara both are struggling in the net worth department. Where to from here in these next few minutes to try and recover the game?
I'm just thinking, like, are they going to push your towers if you get overly aggressive? If you don't get overly aggressive, that's my main concern. Are they just going to try and chase Iron It here off the back of Desire? Not sure if you're going to be able to do that, my guy. Not with a Blink Dagger up. And that is 2 big cooldowns that you've now expended. So my thing was, like, you just got to keep pushing out these lanes, in my opinion, right? It's about getting into this next big timing for you, and you can see there is that fear factor now coming through from God King with the Lincoln Sphere. Like, he knows that he really needs to get into this point, and well, fittingly enough, it's right when that Orchid is completed by L'Enfer.
Yep. We've all lost those Morphling games where you refuse to buy Lincolns because you're like, bro, I've got Manta, I'll be cool. Then you lose the game. I'm glad God King, he doesn't know better here, Daynok. He's just experienced this many, many times in the past. Small KK, he's involved in a fray here and he needs some help. His team, can they get him out of trouble here? No, they can't. He dove a little bit too far in. And you made mention earlier of how Ayanid was debated by how well the game is going for him. The same thing happens to the Storm Spirit. And then this time around, it's not just a random core kill. This is an unstoppable streak ended. This is a ton of gold being given away.
At least it's only Desire that gets it, right? Sorry, Desiree, that ends up getting it. So, I mean, you just see what this mentality is. Just he's got 3 different Observer Wards queued up for himself, some sentries. They're just wanting to get these quick, easy pickoffs whenever they can, because it is still quite hard for them to do it, right? That was basically a freebie that landed in their lap. And, well, they've taken 1 Tier 1 tower. I really want to see them try and open up this map a little bit more for God King, because he is basically siphoning off all the farm on the map that they've got to play with right now.
Yep. They did at the very least get themselves a bonus piece of gold on the Aaron kill, because there was also a killing streak ended from his triple in the prior fight. And now Ranfu Dao is a little bit isolated from his crew. They don't have vision on top of him. If they did, Tusk might want to utilize this Blink Dagger, get on top of him. Ranfu Dao will be allowed to live, which is kind of surprising. I thought he was dead for sure, but now that he's leaving the area, maybe they're leaving the Naga alone. You can see they're thinking about it here. Big brain. They want to make the jump onto L'Enfer. But CSJ, not sure just yet. Really thinking about it. They were waiting for the Morphling to show up, but God King took a little bit too long to make the rotation.
Maybe they can still go for a smoke here. They're all grouped up together. Doesn't seem like they're all that keen. And God King knows the value of needing to be the ones to make the jump if he doesn't have the Lincoln Sphere. They've got some sort of, counter initiation play off the back of the Blink Dagger that Tusk has just picked up as well. But instead, they're just liking to try and find another quick pick. Skywrath Mage, probably not the target that you want. You want someone that's got a little bit higher priority, like Ayanid. They see him CSing in the tree line, but just look at the positioning from Aaron. He's going to be able to be the one to pop the smoke. And you know what? He might die, but it's all for the greater good.
This is the second near 5-hero rotation to the bottom lane within the last 3 minutes. And unfortunately, across that entire time period, they found 1 kill on a Skywrath Mage. Certainly not a worthwhile use of their time on Radiant side.
Even just Sakata being forced back to the mid lane to be able to defend against what felt like 2 full creep waves. He'll get it all for himself, so nice little farm for the puck to be able to pick up with, but they would have seen that TP come through from him. And I just have a look at his item build as well, right? Booster Travel. This is a man that wants to shove out lanes, that wants to make space for his Morphling. They feel confident in God King being able to go late, but I mean, the later you go, the more difficulties that you're going to get in being able to take out this Naga Siren. She's already got the Reaver towards the heart. I'm not sure how I feel about this. I would have liked the Skadi just because you are going up against a Morphling, and that would have also given you a little bit of extra damage output for the Morph. But you know, it can just be a personal preference. Maybe he feels like he's able to get into this item a little bit sooner.
I guess he feels that between having all the armor that he already has, the only thing, if he gets hot, he actually doesn't. I don't think he can die anymore in fights. Like, Paka is going to run out of damage before killing him. You still will have an opportunity to Naga Song. Like, Morphling hurts, yes, but not to that degree just yet. I do agree with you. I would have preferred Skadi as well, because obviously if he has raw HP, that also makes him a better target for the Undying Decay. But overall, just as long as he tanks up. I think Heart, Skadi, Butterfly, it was between those 3. And if you bought Butterfly, then you have to play a lot more aggressively. You can just still play quite casually with this Heart. Now he's going to have it available in his inventory, using it in this fight here. Arena dropping down around him, but that doesn't really threaten him. Lanfa is taking damage from 4 heroes right now, but he's still alive. Finally pops the song, but he's not going to TP just yet. Waited really long to go for this, but still manages to get himself out. What a time for the Heart to arrive, and we get to see the influence of that item here, Daynok. 4 heroes beating down across him, and not only did they not kill him, they lose one in the process as well.
They lose one in the process. I mean, it's also the power of something as simple as like a Gossamer cape as well, right? Every 4 seconds, you're going to be dodging out attacks too, so you're already hard to kill. Add that on top of everything, and it just becomes so much harder. And he's just going to double down on the tankiness. Going into the Skadi next. Most of the time, I wonder, like, is this too much of a defensive sort of item choice? But, I mean, you've got a Storm Spirit and a Wind Ranger who are having pretty decent games in their own right. They can be your damage sources. Basically, you just need to be there on the front lines, making sure that, like, you are this inevitable source of damage and just overwhelming stuff coming in against you.
You see some supports getting picked off on the map. Lanfa, his pickoff is a bit more substantial because they get to invade the Radiant Triangle now as well and maybe take this area over. And Big Brain are aware of how much they need this, so they're coming to try and mount a defense here. They're gonna be able to make a jump directly onto our Spirit Breaker, and Ranfu Dao dies very quickly there. Did require all the blinks to be used, but still, it's space, yeah.
And it taking the tier 2 down on the bottom side of the map, taking away more spaces for them to be able to farm. He's underneath an observer ward right now. Not going to be in a position to be able to power shot that high ground, and if he did, he might have even gotten caught out by the Tusk coming in to try and find a pick off onto him. So yeah, I really feel like Team Disillusion are doing a great job of just splitting up the map right now, picking up a lot more efficient and I would say slightly more evenly spread out farm. You know, there's no one that's really sacrificed their game for any of the plays that they've made so far.
That being said, we might have to sacrifice the Naga Siren as she is between the Mars and the Morph at the moment. But my god, she's so tanky. 2.8k HP with 25 armor. Let's see what they got. Dream Coil, Arena, and this time there's no song. So they finally do make it happen. But the more important thing about not having the song, that's less important than the fact that God King was finally there. And we get to see how different it is for his overall tank ability when he has to deal with the Morphling as well.
Oh, they can't lose any more, though. And of course, it's important that Ranfu Dao continues to push on forward. Ironid.
Oh, Sakara. He found the Yules onto Ironid. Mystic Flare was dropped down with the Ancients here, so they can't combo into this Wind Ranger. At least not from the park. But the allies come in to finish off the kill regardless. Aaron attempting to run away, but he knows he's dead to rights, hiding in a very nice enclave in the trees. But CSJ has the God's Rebuke to bring him down. 3 heroes have fallen in a little while, and Ranfu Dao, he is still staying around this bottom lane. He needs to get the hell out of here.
They're coming
to try and catch him.
Should hopefully be able to. Oh, he's got to be quick, though. Mars revealing on the lane. The important thing for Ranfu Dao is he's level 12, so he's certainly recovered in terms of the experience deficit that he was at, but we just see there the Shadow Blade. So now you've got plays to be able to make that initial jump in onto the Morphling or the Snapfire. It really just depends who you're able to claim. You can see the charge immediately trying to be used up top onto God King, pops the Lincolns, and will probably force him to play a little bit more conservatively back towards his side of the map once again. Love the Yules pickup.
Also huge
We got 2
because
Yules.
it brought the God King back into the same parity on farm as this Naga Siren. And you mentioned this Yules in the draft, right? That you thought it could be very good this game. We've seen Yules in general being deployed against Spirit Breaker, but overall, given their relative lack of teamfight, you know, Yules sort of functions as that dispel mechanic you were talking about. We saw it used against Ironid to stop him wind running away. Can be very useful on the Naga Siren before a song comes out. Feels like CSJ. He doesn't, like you said, doesn't need to do anything more in terms of control. Sakata's going to be picking up the slack for him in that department, so he can start build more into the utility department, which he's doing with the Hex on his Mars.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, even just other parts of the Yules that are beneficial, you're already going up against an Orchid, going to be able to protect against that. Going up against a Mystic Flare, if it's onto yourself, can protect against that as well. So it really is a versatile tool. I mean, even just using it aggressively against a Storm Spirit, right? Yules him up into the air, make sure that the arrow is mid-flight, and you're always going to be able to catch off one of the more elusive heroes in the game. It's like they're ready to go for a potential Roche fight, though. Up on this top side, maybe just looking to get a quick pick off beforehand, and well, if they could run into CSJ, that would be absolutely ideal. He's DC, he's sitting still.
He's just chilling, yeah. He does have a BKB, pops it eventually, but by the time he does, this Tusk is already very low on the HP. That being said, they did kill off the Skywrath Mage, and now CSJ trying to TP out, realizes he cannot do it as the BKB, he's been spamming it out in this game, so it's already down to the 6-second mark. That was very bizarre from him. I think he might have DC'd or something, but it opens up a pretty large opportunity to reclaim some map control for Disillusion.
Might have just been looking on the other side of the map as well. Not the situation that you really want to be the case for you, and it's really going to hinder both his team's map control that they've got right now, but as well his own scaling. You know, like he needs to make sure that he continues to do so. He's going into a refresher orb again just to be able to provide that area of control for them to be able to play around this tombstone, the puck dream coil, all that sort of stuff, to be able to have that potential reset against the Naga Song. It's all really useful tools to be able to have, but you really are hindering your own net worth to be able to pick it up. And well, you already see like the melee Batrider coming through with Ranfu Dao trying to push out a lane, but you can't reveal outside of the smoke, outside of the invis, excuse me, against a Morphling.
Yep. He knows that if that were to happen, he would just be dead to rights almost immediately. Still doing what he can in terms of the experience department, about to crack 15. You know, get that bulldoze cooldown, pretty decent. I'm starting to get a bit worried here now, if I'm honest. This Morphling, man. I think this hero is just uber busted right now. Of all the carries in the game, I think this is top one. And when I'm seeing him that, yeah, the rest of the team is having a pretty difficult time, but he is 1-0-6, near top net worth, still getting all the items he wants, has a Titan sliver. I'm not feeling uber confident about Direside's success here if this Morphling doesn't get contained fairly shortly.
I gotta ask as well, who do you think he's going? So I mentioned that it's not exactly an amazing Ags game in terms of the position 1 carry, but I feel like there are other options. They don't have Song as well to be able to contest this. Yes, he is.
No way, dude. There's no way he finishes the Axe. I'd be shocked and amazed if he finishes the Axe this game. We'll talk about it after this fight, though. As CSJ found a spear onto Ranfu Dao, but he does manage to get off the Shadow Blade.
And now they
turn with Focus Fire and the Shackle Shot. CSJ eventually finishes off the Spirit Breaker, but he dies in the process. At the same time, the God King finished off the Roche.
Storm's
has an Aegis in tow and now trying to rejoin the fight, but he's out of mana, surrounded by Lanfur, and he might be dead here. This Tusk buying a little bit of time. This Ice Shards also creating an opportunity, but the Morphling, he doesn't want an opportunity to survive. He wants to kill. He goes in, finds the Naga without allies, and they do manage to kill her off. So that's a killing spree taken away. The God King gets an Aegis, a kill in that fight, and a team fight victory. Okay. All right, now what, Daynok? How do you deal with this morph at this point?
Storm just did 0 damage. That was the issue there. And, well, they're going to get another quick pick off onto the Wind Ranger. Really just odd positioning, odd choice of team fights coming through from Team Disillusion. Like, Storm, like we were saying, did 0 in that fight. Looking to try and get a very quick pick off here, and they will at least be able to kill the Tusk, but
okay, but this might actually lead to the Storm being killed off. He zips away right now. Ranfu down with the charge! Interrupts the Morphling before the Adaptive Strike can come out. So that keeps the Storm Spirit alive. Ranfu Da, what a god, what a player. It leads to them getting at least the support kills. Sakata should be able to escape away from here. He silenced Eren before Ancient Seal. But Ranfu Da might have actually just saved this entire game right there. Yes, they don't get the Morphling kill, but they do get to take away the Aegis.
Yeah, and they get a free kill onto the Tusk as well, who, you know, he was having a pretty decent time up until that point. Of course, the kill went in onto Small KK, so that's going to allow him to get into his own Bloodthorn. Like, they're getting multiple Bloodthorns right now, Snare, just to be able to pick off these key targets. You know, you use the Manta, you're still going to have an additional tool to potentially deal that damage out.
So let's see, Small KK is getting a Bloodthorn. They already have a Bloodthorn on Naga. Come on, and do the right thing, bro. Just build Bloodthorn too. Everybody just do it. They're also building quite a few Lincoln Spheres as well for themselves.
Yeah, so the reason that I was thinking the consideration for the Ags on the Morphling is that it's really good against Universal Heroes. Just you can steal 40% of their stats, which is just insane, you know, in terms of being able to provide a lot of that additional contribution. Wind Ranger's not the worst target to use that Aghanim Scepter onto. You know, you steal 40% of her stats. You also get the invisibility during the win run component as well, so an additional save component. You can even take over the Spirit Breaker, honestly, at that point. You know, just get that massive speed coming through from the charge as well. I can still see targets, even though it's not the Naga Siren.
Personally, I do prefer the route he's gone for. Well, I might not have gone for MKB. You know, there's no Butterfly just yet on the Naga Siren, but I think a damage item into Satanic was the best option for him. I do get the Aghanim Scepter, especially on that Wind Ranger. That's a very good point. But I think for him overall, if he can just go from target to target, right? Not have to actually worry about spending time in a different form. Just be the water boy. You'll win these fights. Now Lanfa needs to song and get out.
Oh,
CSJ
nice
does have BKB. So
Very
he will
quick.
be able to cancel the TP out. Lanfa dodging the spears though, doing what he can. He's got his J's on. Sadly
boys
though, there's
just aren't
still
here.
too many heroes around him. Will find himself leashed up with the Dream Coil, him and Aaron in fact. And both of them will go down. Sakata claims a double. And Lanfa, oh no, it's starting to become a bit of a problem here. Master Daynog, he's not finding himself as survivable and has been picked off now several times by this Radiant lineup.
I gotta ask you, Snare, when's the last time we actually saw Team Dissolution take a full 5-on-5 fight? Because I feel like it's been never this game.
Let's think. 5-on-5. We've seen 4, I guess, but I don't think we've actually seen them all 5 together in one fight.
Yeah, and that's the main issue for mine. Like, even a 4v5 fight, I would take that at this point, you know, but they always seem to just get picked off in these positions, and they've still got the net worth lead overall. They've still got the win probability going in their favor, just because we know they've got the tools to be able to take this. It just seems like they're constantly getting out of position. Small KK is doing a good job and shoving in that mid and top lane at least, forcing potentially a response to be able to come through from Big Brain, but nearly getting into the Satanic for God King. I mean, I suppose the other benefit of the Monkey King bar is that, of course, you could just stick onto the Wind Ranger, right? You're not even needing to rely on the Yule Scepters coming through from the Puck and the Mars to be able to deal with her.
As I have a very good point, Windrun not nearly as potent as it would be otherwise. Might need to see an Aghanim Scepter or something, or a BKB for further protection on this Wind Ranger. The big issue now is that with Satanic not far away, not only are they worried about the damage output of this Morphling, they no longer have the damage themselves to kill him off reliably. And he still has this Tusk to play with. Like, you know, in the draft, we were talking about the Shadow Demon getting banned out as a salvation tool. You know, we haven't seen Tusk for so long in the meta, and the last time we saw him, he was being deployed every other game through mid. But I think this meta, we're probably going to see more of him come back, given how important these saves are. And Small KK, big jump. I don't know if it's the right jump, though, as he gets blown up by the Morphling. Mystic Flare dropped down, but CSJ easily able to get off his BKB. They've quickly kill off the Skywrath Mage. Lanfa pops the song, takes away the tombstone. But where is the follow-up here? What else can they do? CSJ will drop the arena, and this Undying is falling low, but he doesn't care if he dies because they will get Lanfa in the trade. Ranfu down, not allowed to escape either, as he's used up, silenced off, and then killed. A triple kill there for the Morphling. Another teamfight victory. And well, sadly, Master Daynog, that was also 4v5, and it wasn't really around with his crew.
It wasn't even a 4v5, that was 3v5, and then someone eventually like limped in towards the end there on the Spirit Breaker. Like, I don't know how many more times I could say it without sounding like a broken record. Where are the boys? That's really what I want to see at all of these instances. And I mean, you can't afford to be that aggressive away from the rest of the team. They just hit up onto another big timing with the Lincoln Sphere, with a second Bloodthorn coming through, and they're just throwing it away.
I really would like to know what Small KK's rationale was for that jump. Well, not only does he get punished, they immediately lose 2 lanes of racks.
Maybe if he had a BKB, you could do that, but not without it. Not into this.
He doesn't even have Lincolns. I don't know, dude. I don't know about that jump. And he had Lincolns queued before he made the jump, and then he turned to Ags afterwards. I'm very confused.
If he secures all of them, then it'll be fine. Well, this is a pretty big jump if they're able to get him. I mean, Puck just TP'd away. Finally, they're the one without the boys.
They get the Tusk. Desiree is going to fall next. CSJ might be killed off. Has a shield rune, but pops BKB. Should still be fine. Ranfu Dao, though, charging in. He knows it's a 6-second BKB, but it's a little bit too far. Small KK, though, there's no such thing as too far for him, as he really wanted to make that reach, but some very harsh memories of his demise in this exact area probably have him retreat in this instance.
We also saw Ranfu Dao put down that really deep Observer Ward right on top of the Watcher. So not really, has to be careful. Not really a position that you expect Observer Wards to be placed a lot of the time, but they should be able to get a pretty quick D ward off there, or at least like maybe even use that ward to be able to bait a play moving forward. We know that Team Dissolution are not shy in going for those super deep dives, and they can just use that information against them. It's going to be such a key tool for them. So we're going for like a planar pocket, it seems, on a Spirit Breaker, being able to get just a free Aghanim shard. Hopefully no one dies. And it is Renford out that ends up picking it up. Not exactly any like great spells that you're like looking to redirect onto yourself. Everything's kind of like AoE at this point in time, with the exception of like a Soul Rip. Can you redirect Walrus Punch? I doubt it.
I don't think so, no. Because Walrus Punch isn't technically like a cost spell, right? It's like that buff up.
Yeah,
so
true.
I don't believe you can, yeah. So the question is right now, given how well things are going for the Radiant lineup, they've gotten their gold lead back properly. Do we wait for the next Roshan before we try to broach the high ground? Or are we strong enough to just slowly but surely start sieging through this bottom lane to get a tier 3 tower, at least for now?
The issue that I have about waiting for Roshan is that they're going to have a lot of issues with like getting information about that, right? Nagasaran can always just send out the illusions to be able to have information about it. Storm Spirit, yeah, it doesn't last an amazingly long amount of time, but you can like keep farming around that area, drop down static remnants for that purpose. But I mean, they really have reached this point where they feel strong enough to go high ground, right? Level 25 on the Morphling. You nearly have the level 25 on the Storm Spirit to have to contend with, but I mean, this really does feel like the time that you could look to potentially close this one out. Another big timing coming through with that BKB on the Wind Ranger, but I see 3 heroes on Team Disillusion that are not in the base as it's getting hit. This is your last lane of racks, boys.
Yep. If this goes south...
Torment! Why are they taking a Torment?
Because they want the Aghanim shot, they want Aeon's shot, they want Gale Force. I mean, to be fair, they didn't take the tower just yet, so it's still standing. If they get here in time, Aeonid is the one that was parked here, so he has Gale Force, but please don't reveal Aeonid. Play very carefully. But yet again, Danog is right. Where are the boys? Where's the crew? Tier 3 tower's already gone. Long range zip in from the Storm Spirit. Unable to kill off anybody just yet. They go onto Desire and they will be able to make him pay. Gale Force was dropped down. And Lanfa also utilizing the song here. They're looking for a setup, but they don't have the necessary follow-up for this. Ranfu out, pushed outside of his base.
He's got an Arcane Rune on Storm.
And yes, small KK jumping back in. They get the Mystic Flare down onto the Morphling at the same time, trying to kill off the Tusk. He stays alive inside the Snowball, turning it back onto Lanfa instead. Small KK though, him and Aaron have the damage necessary. And Sakata's been falling low the entire time as well. Barely able to escape away from this fight, trying to run from the Storm Spirit, and he does manage to do so. The Morphling though will not be as lucky. He got left behind, got completely surrounded. And well, Danog, you wanted a 5v5 fight. Well, you're gonna get one. Team Disillusion defend the base through bottom.
Look at that level 25 on the Storm Spirit doing work. I mean, we talk about heroes that have strength, about playing around the high ground. Storm Spirit is one of the best ones. You know, he pops everything going in that first time with the fresh level 25, with the overload bounce coming through, and then he just goes back to base. He had an Arcane Rune as well to be able to play around with, and then he just does it all again. You know, just so many bounces that he was able to get throughout that entire process, and now he's got an Aghanim Scepter as well to be able to play around.
Small KK, what a guy. We've seen him have some pretty shocking performances on some games, like his Earthshaker, not that impressive, but his Storm Spirit here it has been very, very good. And he had a very dominant time in the laning phase. This fight though, if he had the Ags here already, Danog, this would have been an absolute disaster for a big braid, even more so than it already was. But I must say, I also commend Ranfu Dao for being willing to just put his body on the line, distract the enemy, and just make it easier for his team to set up the smaller spells onto the targets on the back end.
Have a look at what he's going for next as well. He's got the Witchblade already, but Revenant's Brooch coming through from Small KK. He wants to blow people up in a lot of these engagements, especially that Morphling. You know, if you're full Agimorphed thinking that you're ready to take that fight, Satanic popped, think again, my friend. And really just look to rip through that.
Danog, you've been through it today, buddy.
Oh,
the games you've seen. You've seen it.
We got the reel in. Reel it in
let's...
on the Nagasaran. That's the spell that everyone really wants with this Aghanim Scepter.
Let's go.
Oh, please don't play so far apart. Why are they so far apart?
I don't know. The last time they fought in this area, it didn't go well. And it found a very nice shackle shot, but there was a Lotus Orb, so he got shackled himself. Does end up dead.
Storm is nowhere close.
For this fight. He gets Yules into the air. And he was the one carrying the Aegis. Why was the Wind Ranger the one carrying the Aegis? I'm not sure. Didn't even think that was a possibility. But they'll get out on everybody except Aaron, who will be left behind to die.
Where are the boys?
Two questions,
Where are the boys? That's all I want to know.
Three questions. Firstly, where are the boys? Secondly, why are we here? And thirdly, why is ANA carrying the Aegis?
I don't know. Maybe they feel that the win rate, the Naga is unkillable, and Aenid, you know, he has been one of the key focus targets down. Like, he can 100-0 people if he's just allowed to get that focus fire off. But, well, maybe able to get away.
Way. Well,
maybe. Gale force him.
BKB, he didn't TP out from this, so he might actually die once the BKB ends. He tries to blink away, but he's gone for sure.
It's got buyback
and,
at least.
This is going to be a problem. He's inside this. I don't even know what this area is. It's a very impossible piece of terrain.
Sadly, Aries and I call it the bait lake because you get baited into thinking that you can maybe try and make an escape.
The bait lake, I like that. Well, so this must be very frustrating for Team Disillusion, right? You mount this incredibly heroic defense down bottom. Things are amazing. You get an Aegis out of it. You get a cheese. You know, you think you should be in a much better stead for the game, but then you go to the one place on the map where you're guaranteed to lose a team fight. I don't know what's happening right here with this die lineup here, Danog, but they might be on the cusp of losing game one based on the decisions they've made in the last few minutes.
It's going to be all around Small KK again. He's been able to farm up enough for the buyback, so of course playing around that fountain regen as much as possible. When do they see the Morphling? They see the Morphlings come back now. Now's the time they want to go. Another great jump.
We see a big blue hole coming in from Small KK, but where is the follow-up? Where are the boys? Where are the boys, Danog? They do find the tusk. But if the boys were there, that initiation from Small KK could have found a lot more. They still do get two, though. Supports being brought down still feels pretty good.
It does. And, you know, at least they get something out of it. I love the fact that it was an instant response to being able to see the Morphling back in base. Well, poor Spirit Breaker away from the boys once again, and he's going to get picked off with no buyback off the map for 80 seconds. So in a time where you really should be looking to try and reclaim a lot of this map, they're just going to have to, you know, once again, sit back, be conservative, pick up a little bit more farm for themselves. At least they got the Revenant's Brooch on Small KK.
This game is all on you now, buddy. Small KK is on you. It's all about what he can perform in this game.
He's just praying for an arcane rune once again.
Well. Yeah. This Morphling as well has just become very, very strong. Has the full Satanic. Still angling towards the Aghanim Scepter now, though. We'll see how often he uses it onto Aenid, who should be one of the bigger targets for him. And how's this Naga doing? She hasn't felt like she's progressed that much since the real-in.
It doesn't. I was about to say, like, do you feel like this Octarine is really that worth for Small KK at this point? Like, Electric Vortex is going to get reduced a little bit. You know, you reduce the overload by, what, 7.5 seconds, but is that really the big difference maker? I would feel a lot more confident if he just amped up his own survivability. You know, like, you haven't had a BKB this entire game. A 9-second BKB 46 minutes in is enormous.
Given the spells on the enemy team, BKB, I'm fully with you. After the Aghanim's upgrade, that feels like a better option. I mean, if he really wants and feels that he wants some additional mana or whatever, even then I'd feel better with the Hex over and above getting the Octarine. The boys, where they at right now? Aaron is like, boys, crew. And unfortunately, the rest of his team tells him, sorry, buddy, Season 3 of the boys only drops in a couple months. We're not ready just yet.
Oh, he just bought the Scythe as well, so he doesn't have buyback. Oh, all right. One saving grace. Small KK, check the power rune. ED on the top side of that river. Except to quickly
I don't think he's gonna
claim
go for it. I think he wants to split push.
Well,
let's see.
Base is being invaded.
He TP's home, doesn't have time to actually go and scout out the rune. And now the God King, he is here with a big Morphling beating down the racks, able to easily rinse down the melee racks, wanting a little bit more. Small KK jumps in, finds the blue hole, but we need the follow-up from the crew. Look at the God King falling so low, but Tusk buys him space and time. They drop the Arena Tombstone, and that's going to kill off Aeonit as well as threaten the life of Ranfu down. Both of them die, neither of them have buyback. And now I don't think they have any options in this game anymore. They have Song maybe,
So
but
on
that
Small
requires
KK.
Lanfur to survive. And CSJ found him, jumping onto the Naga Siren. Small KK trying to interrupt this with the blue hole, successfully does so and kills off the Undying in the process. But I don't think he can keep Lanfur alive. There's too much damage on the God King. Naga
Storm
Siren
wants to
does
die
die.
almost.
She will come back into the game though, and Storm falling very, very low. Eventually will get taken out. Does require quite a hefty exposure of resources to do so. Now he's looking for revenge, looking for
that
CSG
bulwark.
on the back end of the fight. The BKB keeping the Smalls alive, and they found the spear as well. Onto Small KK. This might lead to a dieback. Lanfur finally pops the song. That will bail the Storm Spirit out of trouble and keep this game going. But Sakata really
Lanfur
wanted
okay?
the assassination. Doesn't find the Storm Spirit. Maybe wants to trap up Lanfur. But they might feel comfortable just leaving the base. They've already got the Megas. But they want to end things right now here, Daynok. They buy back on the Undying.
Out of
Mystic
mana.
Flare. Drop down onto the Morphling with the Hex from Aaron. But he yules into
No
the air
save
with the
this
Wind
time.
Waker from Puck, keeping him alive. Small KK does not have any additional salvation. And he's gone. It's a dieback for 2 minutes. They turn their attention towards Aaron on the Skywrath Mage. Easy right clicks to kill him off. And Lanfur can do nothing but slither back to the base as his team calls GG. And game 1 goes in favor of the big brain lineup.
Oh, man.